So I think the one thing that I would like to say is if business ownership is a thought, I think you owe it to yourself to explore it. You never want to get to be 60, 70 years old and go, I wish I had, right? It would be better to go ahead and explore it and find out if it is or isn't for you so that you know. And to use somebody that's going to help you, not just buy a franchise or a business. Because you think your neighborhood needs it. If I was going to buy something that I thoroughly enjoyed, it would be an ice cream, a place. I love peanut butter parfaits, right? But at the end of the day, I don't like working with high schoolers anymore. I don't want a business that's going to be open past midnight. And I would probably walk away just fat and broke then. So, really, when you're thinking about buying a business, think about what is the role of the owner. That's the most important thing. Anything else will work if you're going to enjoy the role of the owner.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Reframe First. I'm Oleksij, the host, and let me welcome our today's guest, Terese McGrow, is franchise consultant at FranNet. So, hi Terese, great having you here.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. It's great being here.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So, your LinkedIn says like you're helping professionals build extraordinary lives through business ownership, and you work in franchising industry. So, could you tell us a bit more how you got into the industry, what you do? You told me in the pre-call a bit, but still, like for the audience.
Yeah. So, to be honest, I've been in the franchising industry for a long time. I started when I was 21. My husband and I actually bought our first franchise then. He had grown up in the Shell gas station business. And so that's when we started. And we owned that and a Goodyear automotive repair business, probably between the two of those, at least 25 years. And then, we got out of the automotive industry. And now what I do is I consult people who are thinking about business ownership. We help them explore whether or not franchised business ownership is a good fit for them or not. Um, yeah, so that's in a nutshell.
What does it take to own a franchise? So you've been in this industry like with two different franchises and several locations. So how is it like at the moment when you are choosing to step into the business and when you're established? Like how did your expectations change?
How did so when we went into business ourselves many years ago, we didn't know it. We didn't know any better. We were just probably too young and dumb to know any different, right? That there could have been anything different to do. And I think that that's what I love about doing what I do is that just because you've always been in recruiting or you've always been in finances doesn't mean that that's what you have to continue doing, even if you don't enjoy it. That you have a lot of transferable skills that you can take and share over to a new industry. And, mostly what's important about business ownership, franchise business ownership, is that you enjoy the role of the owner. Um, a lot of times people think, let's just say if you think about home health care, well, you're not really ever going to be taking care of somebody. So you're going to be, hiring people that are going to be doing that. You're going to be managing the business, working on the business, not in the business. And so that's what I really enjoy doing what I do is opening people's eyes to those kinds of possibilities and opportunities.
Yeah, I see. Uh, how do you choose the right franchise nowadays?
How do
So
you choose it?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
No.
no, people come to you and okay, I want to change my life. I want to run my own business. And
Yeah.
what's the next question?
Well, we have what's called an entrepreneur profile. Really helps measure values, goals, lifestyle helps you think about things that you might not have thought about owning a business before. How many people do you want working for you? Uh, what kinds of people do you want working for you? For instance, let's say you own you buy a childcare franchise. Well, you have to like working with kids, but you also have to understand that they come with parents, you know? Eh, so, I mean, finding out what makes you be excited about what you're gonna do. And then, probably minimally anymore, people need to have about a $500,000, net worth. The ability to be able to get a loan. Um, you know, uh, business, they come in all different price ranges, so, I would say the very least expensive is probably $50,000, but it's not only the cost of getting into the business, but then it's also having enough money to live on that first year that you're in business. 'Cause, um, yeah, you're not gonna make money right off the bat, so you need to have enough to pay your mortgage and your food and electric, all the things, and if you don't have that, then it's probably not a good idea, um, because you can't open a business and then be worried about, "Am I gonna have a house next week?"
Yeah, yeah, I see. Uh, how long is this questionnaire? Is it like you mentioned that there is a long questionnaire? Is it like some from FranNet questionnaire that you're asking people?
Yeah,
And
it's probably a 30-minute questionnaire, kind of like a little bit if you a little bit like a disc profile if you've ever taken one of those. It's a little bit like that, and then along with, filling out some financials so that we know how we can help you. Yeah, we need to know where is the money coming from. Some franchisors, most of the franchisors have a net worth requirement. So we need to know, do you meet that requirement? Because we don't want to show you businesses that you can't afford.
yeah, and then you choose the right businesses. How do you make this choice? Oh, like, okay, well, I filled the questionnaire, so I spent my 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
what's next? Yeah,
Well, what's next is you and I would sit down, we would talk for about 2 hours, where I just try to get to know you. Well, what makes you be excited? What do you want to do for your business? What do you want your business to do for you? All of those things. And then because of that profile, we have businesses that line up with that profile. So the profile breaks down people as belongers, achievers, societal, or emulators. And belongers are very family oriented people. I think that you are probably a belonger, just not even having taken that assessment because you like to build relationships, you like to talk to people. So you would not do well in a business where you're working from home in your office by yourself all day. You would need a business that's going to have you engaging with people. Um, family is probably very important to you, those kinds of things. And an achiever is exactly that. Are you the kind of person that can go out and achieve goals? Um, Societal, I lovingly call societal people tree huggers. They're not really tree huggers. They're more of the you know, they care about people in a different way, like they're the kind of people that would be good owners of home health care businesses or child care businesses and those kinds of things. People who care about even the environment a lot of times. And then emulators are people, those are the people who are probably a little more excited about owning a business that is a little more newer. Um, they like the cutting edge of kinds of things. So by knowing those things, I can go through my list. I represent about 200 franchises and pick businesses that already have those characteristics and say, these might be a good fit for you. And then question around that business. So, let's say I'm going to show you a home healthcare business. Then I would question you around if that would be a good fit or not. Do you would you want to have a business that where you have 50 employees, and where, your employees are going into homes and taking care of the elderly, all of the questions. So it's really just a question, um, answer conversation of getting to know you and what you would like to do. And sometimes you're like, I didn't even know that that business existed, right? Uh, so there's all different ways of doing that. And then what we do is, which I think the matchmaking part is so important, but I really think the secret sauce is where we talk every week with you. I have a conversation with my clients every week. What did you learn about these franchises that you like? What don't you like? What more do you need to know? Um, so that they're getting all of their questions answered. Um, and, sometimes we ask questions and, maybe the other people aren't answering them the way we want or understand, And so sometimes I have to call the franchisor and say, well, my client doesn't understand why you're saying this. He's hearing this. So where's the middle? How can we
Yep,
understand
yep,
the
yep.
whole thing, right? So I advocate for my clients.
Yeah, so you're kind of guiding them through the process.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I didn't think of that in terms that you kind of make a psychological profile of your client, and then based on their profile, you choose what's the right fit for them. Because most people think that franchising is about opening another restaurant, for some.
Yes,
And
yes. And right now, right, opening another restaurant or a McDonald's or whatever is not really all that great. I mean, right now the restaurant industry is hard. In the US it is a little bit. So
which franchises are great on this, in your opinion?
in my opinion right now,
Yeah, despite the psychological profile and so on, which segments are really great in your opinion? Which segments are growing or
yeah,
blooming?
home services is really growing right now. And then the segments that have to do with the elderly, because the elderly demographic is growing a lot. Um, the other thing is that the younger group, they're spending more money on health than we did. They're spending 2 times more than what we did. And they're not drinking like, you know, we did. And, so, really athletic concepts are also very good for, the younger, uh, people coming up. They're spending more money and they're joining more boutique type, uh, fitness groups. So, um, and home services is always all day long. People need their houses taken care of, whether it's painting, whether it's their floors or, um, you know, outdoors, indoors.
Yeah. Okay. Now, next one, you've chosen few franchises that are probably good fit for me. How many of these, and what's next? How do we compare them? There is an FDD, but it's huge. Reading the FDD,
Yeah.
reading
Well, so
like
the
5 FDDs and comparing them, it's it's pain.
yeah, it's painful. There's 280 pages. It's a lot of pages. But, so, what happens is that people will, review the FDD with the franchisor. So the franchisor typically will review it with you. And then, you're going to review it also. Um, and you want to look at the important parts of it, right? What does it take to get in? How much money does it cost to get in? How much money does it cost to stay? stay
Chapter
in.
7, chapter 19, from what is learned
Yes.
already.
Item 7, item 19 um, are big parts, but also what happens if you decide that you are 5 years into your 10-year contract and you decide you want to get out? How do I do that? But but the comparison really comes in when you uh, get to start talking to the franchisees. Um, during your due diligence. At a certain point, the franchisor will say, okay, you could start talking to franchisees. And in that, FDD has a list of all of the franchisees. Um, I usually ask the franchisor to please give my client somebody that's been in business a year, 5 years, and 10 years, and somebody that's not doing well, somebody that's doing average, and somebody that's knocking it out of the ballpark. And I'd like for my clients to start talking to those 6 people and then just close their eyes and pick 4 more people to call. And the question is, would you do it again? It's a great place to start. And if they would, why? And if they wouldn't, why not? And it when you talk to those 6 specific people, that gives you a wide range of people to talk to in all stages of the business. And when you ask them things like, what would you do differently? Um, what would you have done the same? Is the franchisor, they say they do this, that, and the other thing. Do they really do that? Or, just so that's truly where I think the proof is in talking to the franchisees. Because if they're unhappy, you're going to know they're unhappy. And that also is introducing you to the franchise family. So if you can have an easy conversation with these people and you feel comfortable with these people, they are going to become your family. These are the people that you're also going to call when you have those days that you struggle. Because let's face it, it doesn't matter if you're working for corporate America or you're, working for yourself. There are days that you struggle. And so these are the people that you're going to call. And once a year, franchisors have a big conference where everybody comes together. So, you bring everybody together and people share ideas. And yeah, I mean, that's part of why I love being part of a franchise. FranNet is a franchise. And I love getting together with the whole group of people and, talking and sharing ideas. And I don't know, it's
Oh,
encouraging, you know?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you have always somebody who has the same amount of challenges like you have or had, or
Challenges and wins, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like being entrepreneur, you're alone, yeah. and
Yeah.
and if
Yeah.
you have people in the same business and who went through the same steps and they are ready to share, so
And they
that,
want success for you too,
yeah,
success. So, let's just take McDonald's. If everybody complained, I mean, well, let's just even say, I hate to pick on McDonald's, but let's just say, I mean, their food isn't the best, or anything. But everybody knows when they go to McDonald's what they're getting. It doesn't matter if you're in the US or if you're in, England or if you're in Canada, you're going to get it. And so everything is, you know, that's why you want people to be in your business that are going to be successful. Because if you get a group of McDonald's that they're not performing well, it looks bad for the rest of the McDonald's.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
for sure. And did like while being in franchisee yourself, if you were a franchisee of two different franchises, and did you have a lot of these calls with new potential franchise? Is it normal? Like, is it common to have a lot of these calls and introduce some new people? And was there resistance from your side? Okay, I have no time for that. Or how does it work? I never knew that.
what do you mean?
Like you're running in like some location for some franchise, and all of a sudden you're getting called by me, for instance. Like, I want to be a franchisee for your franchise. So could you tell me all the
Okay.
problems you have? So,
Yeah.
For me, it would sound more probably a bit off, but still, how does it work?
Yeah, when somebody wants to be a franchisee of a
Yeah,
particular business.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
How
well,
does
you
it work for you as an existing franchisee of that business?
well, yeah, I mean, if I didn't think you were going to be very good for the franchise, as if I was a franchisee and you were reaching out to me and asking these questions, and I didn't really think that you would be a good fit for my
it would,
franchise,
it would
I would call the franchisor and I would say, I'm not so sure about that guy, you know. Um, so I mean, it's a definite vetting. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million, $2 million. If you're not a fit for that franchise, the franchisor won't take you. They're looking for people. They're not looking for your money only. They're looking for people that are going to raise up the brand.
yeah. Yeah, it's about the brand. It's about these people will represent their name in the end. So
Yeah, yeah. Does that answer your question?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome,
So
awesome. Yeah.
it's rewarding to watch people be successful.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's very rewarding. Another industry that we haven't mentioned is pets. I don't, I mean, the pet industry is amazing. There's mobile grooming, there's, training, there's boarding, there's, you know, stores, pet food stores, and all of that. So, I mean, it's another industry that people spend a lot of money on their pets.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Coming back to FDD still to discuss a bit deeper. Uh, what are the red flags that you're looking for? If you're like looking through some FDD, like what are the typical red flags that you are first looking for?
On an FDD or
Yeah,
in, yeah, on an FDD, red flags would be litigation. If franchisees have taken the franchisor to court for some reason, that would be a big red flag. Um, and if the franchisor potentially has had any bankruptcies himself,
it has to
so
be listed in FDD, right?
yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
listed in the FDD. So things like that are things that we consider red flags in the FDD. Now, FranNet, we don't just represent anybody either. So we're not going to represent franchises that are highly litigated, um, or we call the franchisees ourselves before they're allowed in our inventory because we want to know what you're going to hear when you call. Now, occasionally, sometimes things do change for some reason in a franchise, and you hear some rumblings from when your client, my client, you are calling franchisees. Occasionally, you start hearing that maybe things aren't well at the franchise. And so then we will get involved. We'll call the franchisor and say, what's going on? You need to get your house in order. We're going to pull you from our inventory um, because we don't want, we're not going to, we're not going to put our clients into a business that's not doing well. So,
Yeah, that's also your reputation in the
yeah. So, that probably so in the FTD, that's the biggest red flags is franchisee suing the franchisor. And then the other red flags are if when you start calling franchisees and they're not happy. Um, that's the other big red flag. Red flags for me when I have a client coming to me. Um, sometimes people can't make decisions. Um, and at some point, you just have to say, you know what, maybe this isn't for you. Business ownership is about making decisions. And if you can't decide to move forward or, between this and this, maybe business ownership isn't for you. Um, when people come to me and they don't have enough money. I mean, that's a big red flag. If you can't support yourself for the next year, you know, we can't help you. Um, what are some other big red flags when people
Some
come?
numbers being off, I don't know, not according to market standards. So maybe some vendors lock in like specific vendors that need to be. I don't know. I'm just guessing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, well, if you can't get a bank loan, so if you have a low credit score, that's a big red flag too. Um, so when yeah, I think we work I work hand in hand. And to be honest, I've helped more people not go into business than go into business. Um uh and a lot of people don't realize that they don't pay for my services. Actually the franchisor pays me a referral fee. And usually the people that FranNet in general helps, they are typically the higher performers of the franchise, because of the fact that we make people do their due diligence, and and so they know what they're getting into. Um, and as opposed to, I have a friend who I didn't know her when she bought this business, but it was a nail business, and she got her nails done at this particular franchise, and she said, "I just love this." And so she bought this franchise, but she didn't understand what it took to run it. She didn't understand that the franchisor was not a very good franchisor. All the things that she needed to understand, and, eventually she ended up going broke. So, you know, uh, we really help people make good decisions in finding the right franchisor, so that they can have a lifetime of success.
yeah. You mentioned, by the way, you mentioned due diligence. Besides looking into numbers, understanding the numbers, and having all the cash available, and besides chatting with other franchisees from the same business, what's else in the due diligence process? Going there,
The
like testing it for yourself as a client, like
Well, there's at the end of the day, there's, before you make a decision, there's it's called Discovery Day. Where you go and you spend a day at the headquarters and you're going to meet all the people that you would be working with. And it's not only for you, it's for the franchisor. Because many times, right, all the conversations are done this way up until this discovery day, where you're talking to the franchisor on the phone or via Zoom, and now we're going to meet face to face. We're going to go out to dinner together. We're going to go see some businesses. We're going to give you the big picture, and that is a important day, not only for you, because what happens if you meet the president face to face and you go, I don't really like this guy. Right? Or the president meets you and goes, I don't really like this guy. It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. And so it might be a business that you might want to walk away from. Typically, you've already talked to him, but it doesn't happen often, but occasionally it does happen where, you come to that day and a whole
it's
day together,
it's a
you
gut
learn a
feeling,
little.
not
Yeah.
yours, right?
Yeah. It's happened. Not often, but it does happen. So that's
But so gut feeling is also part of the process of due diligence.
that everybody's gut feeling, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to, we all buy emotionally and, justify, intellectually. So, you know, eh, when you're looking at a business, a lot of it is gut. Can I do this? Can I go out and network every day? Can I? Because if you can't, then you need to look at a different business. If your business requires networking, you need to look at it at a different business if you can't go out and talk to people every day. You need to look for one that's going to be more digitally, um, driven. If you can't manage people, and that's really what franchisors are looking for. Franchisors are looking for people who know how to manage money and manage people, and follow a system. And not everybody can follow a system either.
Yeah, that's another part of equation because like being an entrepreneur and being able to follow a system are two different skills, I would say, and they do not often come together because like being entrepreneur is like being open minded and like continuously exploring possibilities, while following the system is quite is something sometimes quite opposite.
It can be, I guess, what I think is that you can be an entrepreneur and be part of a franchise, and follow a system and sometimes bring great ideas to the system. Um, you know, if you're with a franchise that's been around for 40 years, maybe not, you know, but when you're looking at a more emerging, yeah, some newer ones, then you can bring some of that entrepreneurial mindset with you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Talking about franchisors, what are their biggest challenges nowadays? Like, it's probably finding the right franchisees ever and where to get them.
Well,
Or what else?
I think that is a big challenge, finding the right franchisees. I think, um, right now too, a lot of things are, finding the right, marketing anymore is for everybody is difficult. It's so noisy out there, right? And so I think
Secondly, it's just hard for everyone. I'm chatting with a lot of industries, and it's pain for everyone nowadays.
yeah. So just trying to understand that, because they're not only responsible for marketing to bring in good franchisees, but they're responsible to market well for their franchisees, so yeah, I think that's right now everybody's struggle.
What is our like most probably it's different for each franchisor, but what is their like client acquisition flows, franchisee acquisition flows? Because like they can acquire them by buying leads from online platforms. They can acquire them somehow directly via their like own marketing. They can acquire them via consultants like you are. What are their like most common flows nowadays? Or
Um, I
in
think it
general?
depends. Yeah, it probably depends on, again, they're out there marketing, but I think that they're better, franchisees come from consultants. Um,
Because they
because
are
we're
qualified.
Yeah. Well, they're pre-qualified and because we're helping them, make sure that it's a good fit. And because we understand their business, also. So we're sending them qualified people, um, that have an interest and that, have the right, culture for them most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense because you build a psychological profile of the franchisee, and you see like what's a potential fit for them.
Yeah.
And you turned more than half of franchisees away from business. So, yeah, that's what you make, and it makes sense, you know. So you
Yeah.
helped people not to make the wrong choice. And what else? With regards to online platforms, I've been looking through all these online platforms like FranchiseGator and others. And why does it feel for me as for example potential franchisees that I'm a product of these systems? So I am not a client, I'm a product. So leave
Yes,
your
yes.
contact details here. You should pay your money here, and then we will just sell you to some franchisor. Why is it so?
I
I've
don't
heard that
know.
it's a market of franchisees nowadays, so everybody's looking for the right franchisees. So why in the end they are the product?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. I had not thought about it that way. I don't, it really muddies the water, a lot of that. It just, Yeah. I think that's the best thing I can say. When I started in this business, probably, 12 years ago, there weren't half the franchise brokers that there are today. And because everybody thinks so it's easy, right? Uh, and and it's not. It's not easy to find your client any more than it is for anybody else out there. I have to go out and find my clients. I have, you know, uh, so it's not any easier than any other business. They're all a struggle. Fortunately, FranNet is the one that started this whole industry of franchise brokers. To be honest, over almost 40 years ago, this industry didn't even exist of matchmaking and helping people do their due diligence. So it's pretty interesting that we started it.
How do you find your clients? Are they coming via FranNet? So is FranNet like advertising and bringing your clients, and you are like based on different locations? So each of you as consultants serves them, or do you do it yourself? How do
It's
you
a
do it?
combination. Yeah, it's a
Combine.
combination. So I do a lot of networking,
Yeah.
going out, meeting people, do a lot of LinkedIn, um, outreach. And then FranNet does do marketing and, and sends us a few referrals. So, yeah, it's like anything else. It's noisy out there.
It's not. It was new for me that FranNet is a franchise by itself, but like as I think about it, it makes sense actually. So
Yeah, it does. And we're one of the few consultancy groups that are a franchise. Most of the other broker groups are not a franchise.
what's the most like labor intensive in your work?
In my work,
Yeah,
um,
Check, talking with people, analyzing documents, preparing proposals. What's that? Oh, on
yeah.
that
So I
work.
would say, you know, I my love of my work is working with the client, but most of my work is prospecting, trying to find those clients. But when I work with a client, it's good 4 hours um, before meeting with them to prepare. Looking at um, is territory available? Because I'm not going to show you a franchise that isn't in your area. Um, in making sure that you are qualified for that franchise and you know, yeah, so it's a good 3, 4 hours of, kind thinking about you before I even really know you. But thinking about, well, what are the possibilities from the little bit that I know? Um, to distill it down to maybe 50 possibilities that I cross off the list then as we're talking, and I get to know you better. So that's probably the most labor intensive part of my
Yes.
job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
proposals like choosing the final ones and comparing them somehow. If
Yeah.
there was some software that would simplify your life, like what would it be? I'm running a software company. I'm entrepreneur, so I'm always
Yeah.
looking for.
What would it be? I don't know because I feel like um, at this point in time for me, I like to be involved, right? I mean, I could probably right now load up my client's information to AI and load up my franchise information to AI and say, spit out the best fits, right? But I I like the thought process, because then when I'm going to talk to the client about it, I can't just I don't wanna just say, "Well, AI told me." You're right? I wanna have good sound reasons why I think it is a good fit. For instance, I worked with someone just yesterday and, uh, he worked in Asia for 10 years and it was the most, uh, fulfilling, rewarding, longest, employment that he had. And what did he like about it? He liked that he went over there and he kind of started the role. He had strong support. He did a lot of, team building and those kinds of things. And so then when I'm looking at, when I was looking at franchises for him, I'm looking at, all right, he's a belonger and an achiever. So he's very much, like yourself, but he needs, that strong support. He wants that strong support from a franchise. Then I have to then think about, well, what franchises um, have more strong support as opposed to guardrail support, and what franchises have been around long enough to have more strong support, right? So
How
it's
do you identify if they have this strong support versus guardrail support? How
um from talking to them. We meet with the franchisors, FranNet. We meet with our franchisors every twice a year. Um, and so, I build relationships. We build relationships with those franchisors. So we know their businesses, not inside and out, but I mean, we know from talking to them what kind of people they're looking for also, you know. And I think, when you and I had that pre-call, that is one of the things that we had talked about too, is that knowing, I need to know that about the franchises, and and being able to decipher, because maybe I have a home health care franchise that is more faith driven and more, in my terms, fun and more guardrails. And then over here, you have this other franchise, home health care franchise, that is more corporate. You can make great money at either or. It's just which one do you fit in? And so that's one of the things that I have to be able to determine. Does this client want more support or guardrails? And, you know, sometimes you have to show them both, which I have done. But uh, yeah, just trying to determine those kinds of things and finding the right fit. And that's the benefit of us talking, um, not just twice a year, but really all year long with the franchisors.
Yeah, it's benefit of having these relations. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. That was
Yeah.
a great discussion. So, and I think we've covered quite a lot of everything from different angles, from franchisee, franchisor, and how it is to help with this matchmaking and what to pay
Yes.
attention to, and so on and so forth. So, before wrap it up, is there anything else you would like to add on top of that?
Yeah. So I think the one thing that I would like to say is that if business ownership is a thought, you know, I think you owe it to yourself to explore it. You know, you never want to get to be 60, 70 years old and go, I wish I had, right? It would be better to go ahead and explore it and find out if it is or isn't for you so that you know. Um, and to use somebody that's going to help you, not just buy a franchise or a business, because you think your neighborhood needs it. If I was going to buy something that I thoroughly enjoyed, it would be an ice cream, a place. I love peanut butter parfaits, right? But at the end of the day, I don't like working with high schoolers anymore. I don't want a business that's going to be open past midnight. And I would probably walk away just fat and broke then. So, really, when you're thinking about buying a business, think about what is the role of the owner. That's the most important thing. Anything else will work if you're going to enjoy the role of the owner.
Yeah, makes sense. And running your own business is always great. So
Yes, yes.
that's kind of freedom, but it doesn't mean it comes. It doesn't mean it's a passive income.
Well, I will say franchises is good income. If you pick the right franchise, you'll have good income for sure. I don't represent anything where my clients would earn less than a six-figure income. Uh, I can't make them earn the six-figure income. They have to do that themselves, but they have the possibility to do that if they want.
What's like normal return on investment in this industry?
Probably average is, 20% net.
20%. Yeah. So if I put in 500,000, so like I can expect 100 grand
No,
every.
20% on revenue. So it would depend on revenue, yeah. But you're definitely going to earn your money back. You're going to, make that six-figure income, and you have the freedom and flexibility to make that six-figure income when you want, right? I mean, if I didn't want to be here working this morning, I don't have to be. Nobody told me I had to show up today at 9 o'clock in the morning. Um, and I want to take Friday off for some reason. I don't have to ask anybody to take Friday off. I can take Friday off. And now, does that mean that maybe during the week I might work a little bit longer? Sure, right? But I don't care. I mean, it's my time. I can earn my money when I want to. And and I think that that's what I love. I went into this business because I was a lunch lady. My kids were in school. I wanted to be available, when they were out of school, and, get them off to school, get them off the bus. When they're on spring break, I wanted to be on spring break. When they're on summer break, I wanted to be on. And then this opportunity presented itself. So then I went from being, earning minimum wage to a six-figure income and still being the kind of mom that I wanted to be. That's what business ownership can do for you. Um, you know, there's nothing else I could have done. I couldn't go work for someone that was gonna, except for the school, that was going to give me that opportunity. So, those are the things that I think people don't realize, that they are sometimes putting themselves into a box, and the box can get much bigger.
Awesome. That's a great note to finish to end it. Thanks a lot for a great discussion, Therese,
Thank you. Thank you. This was enjoyable. I appreciate you reaching out.
and thanks for coming over. Good luck.
Okay. Have a great day.